All right, what's up, y'all? Today's video, I'm going to show you guys the one piece of equipment that I've upgraded that has really changed all of my long road trips. It's a 12-volt portable fridge. This one happens to be from BougeRV. Not really necessarily pushing the brand, but it has like 4,000 or like 3,700 or something like that, but like a 4.6 rating, reviewed, tons of positive reviews on Amazon. That's kind of why I went with it. This one change has allowed me to go from being able to stay out for 4 or 5 days, maybe 6, to I think I went 3 weeks. I didn't realize how much of an improvement that was going to be between I was using a 50-quart cooler and you were losing ice and water within like a few days, especially when the temperatures get above like 80 degrees, which on this trip I was out for 8 weeks, started mid-August and it went through to mid-October. And the change from the beginning of that trip to the end of that trip was incredible. This is a BougeRV 12-volt 30-quart portable fridge. I've got it powered with a Lifetime 12-volt 100 amp hour battery. This is the battery I use for my trolling motor, so it kind of does double duty. Those things are like $215 right now, by the way. They're like, I have looked at these in the past, but like 4 years ago, the price of batteries was outrageous. There was just no way to make this work in my mind for the financial investment. But now the cooler is like $200. I got a military discount, so it was like 20% off. I think it's like $220, and the batteries are now like $215. So all together, this costs less than my 50-quart cooler years ago. And the most important part is that it allows me to stay out indefinitely. I mean, I don't know that you have to come in. I mean, the only reason you have to come in now is for gas, or you need to replace your food. So it'll hold, I think, like 40 cans or something. And it has this little divider, which is kind of cool. So my experience with it on this 8-week trip, I got to Idaho, the temperatures were about 80 degrees in the day, dropping down to about 50 at night. I went on a backpacking trip, and then I went car camping, truck camping for a couple days, and then I went on another backpacking trip. I left it connected. After 10 days, the battery had drained down to 58%. And I noticed that that's about what it did in that temperature. So anywhere between 50 and 80 degrees, I parked in the shade, tried to stay out of the sun, and I was using 40% or so of the battery over 10 days. Now, during the warmest parts of the day, when the temperatures got up to like the 80s and I couldn't find shade, I was using about 10% of the battery per day. The fridge just cycles more if it gets hot and you're in the sun. There's some things that I've done to kind of help that. I built a little Reflectix kind of cover to put on it, and I left that on during the day in my truck, and then I would take this out. The great thing about this little thing is it's so light, you can pick it up and take it with you and move it. I mean, I think it weighs less than 10 pounds. Obviously, if you fill it up with food and drinks, it gets a little bit heavier. But that's one of the biggest things that I noticed between this and like my 50-quart cooler. When I had that thing filled up with food and ice and drinks and whatnot, that thing, the cooler by itself is like, it's ridiculously heavy. It got to be over 100 pounds, and I'm trying to get that in and out of my truck. It was a nightmare. You can see, you just don't have just a ton of space, and trying to pull that, manhandle that thing out or get it out, you know, far enough that I could empty the water, and it would drain inside of here, and you would, you know, trying to get it back in and out, it just became, it's a pain. I can carry the same amount of drinks in this as I could the cooler because you don't need to fill it up with ice. Super important. I have 100-watt portable solar panels from Renogy. Connect that to the battery and let it run. It would recharge this. You get about 20% a day if you're just leaving it out in the sun and not really changing the angle, but you get about 30 to 35% recharge if you mess with it. And every couple days, like I think it was Labor Day, kind of got crowded out in the forest, and I found me a camp spot and just kind of hung out for a night. And that whole day I got this out of my truck, sat around the creek with it, and then I just kind of moved the battery and the fridge and kept it in the sun. And then eventually I connected the second battery and just recharged this and left this in the shade, and it was amazing. But it took me one day, and I charged up both of my batteries from around the primary battery here was down 58%, like I said, and the other one was like 65, 70, something like that. But I was using it to charge all of my GoPro batteries. I have some USB lights that I use. My headlamp, the cool thing is this has a USB. So let me get some stuff out and I'll show you that, because you can charge all your stuff up through the USB port. And I have it on the M is for the mid-level, so if you have it plugged in your car, it'll kill it before it drains your battery. It has a high and a low, and I have it on eco mode, and it's at 45. So it's gonna run for a little bit and cool down. Probably a good time to go ahead and connect it to that portable power bank that I have and show you the wattage. So let's do that. All right, so I got back from my trip, and this company from Avery called me, asked me if I wanted to review their power bank, which I will do, but I'm not gonna do that today. Today I'm just gonna show you kind of how this works. It comes with this little cigarette lighter. So I'm gonna unplug my fridge and plug that into this, and I'll show you, this is gonna show you the output. It shows me how many hours, but again, I'm gonna review this separately. Today I just wanna show you kind of how much wattage this thing is using when it's charging. And right now it's using somewhere between, it says 44 watts, 35. So this fridge is supposed to be the low voltage. I'll grab the manual here and look at it, but I believe it's 36 watts on the eco mode, which is kind of what it's doing. Now when it gets to its holding temperature, wherever you have it set at, it'll start cycling just at that wattage that it's supposed to, that low wattage, like 36 watts. When it's cooling off, it'll go up to a peak of like 44 or something. Now this is a dual zone, or not really dual zone, it's a two type of cooler. It's either, you can use it as a fridge or you can use it as a freezer. And it'll get down like below zero, like -7 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe, and all the way up to, can't really set it above like 50. I believe that's what it was, which is plenty cool. Yeah, 50 Fahrenheit's the max temperature you want, but for me, keeping that 45 or so when I was truck camping seemed to be that magic zone of being able to keep everything I wanted cool. Your food, you buy like chicken, you usually buy it comes in a pack that's going to be at least 2, maybe 3 people. Same thing with meat or pork. So you're able to keep food fresh in here for like a week, and then everything you cook you can put back in here, and you get another 3 or 4 or 5 days out of that. So it's easy to stay for like 2 to 3 weeks with your groceries. I mean, it's amazing. All right, so let me talk about the battery and how I have it rigged up. So you can run this from a household outlet like you would, like through an inverter, which I do have, but I didn't want to keep my inverter on all the time. Let's talk about this accessory port. I bought this off of Amazon, this little accessory port here. It's marine grade, comes with a fuse. It was under 10 or 15 bucks. I'll link it in the description so you can kind of tell, but it really was what made this whole system work for me, because I could leave this battery box in my truck, connect the fridge to my truck while I was driving, and then when I stopped, so like when I drove out from Arkansas to Idaho, I left this connected to my truck. At night I would connect it to this, and then this would run all day long. And then when I got into Idaho, all the way through Wyoming and Colorado, that 8 weeks that I was out, I left it charging off the battery. So the cool thing about these batteries, they're smart Bluetooth enabled batteries, so you have an app you connect to your phone. You do got to create an account. I didn't lose access to my account, even though I was never on the grid, which is cool about Bluetooth. But I did read a comment in the reviews that somebody had lost and they couldn't get relogged back into their system. I didn't have a problem with that. It ran 8 weeks, and I got on every day and checked my battery level. When I connected my solar to it, I would watch the charge and see how much it's going to go up and down. Super helpful. I don't think I would do this without a Bluetooth, because it just makes monitoring your battery super fast and easy. These batteries are IP65 waterproof, or water resistant really, which basically means they can take spray and some jet. The 6 on the 65 is the dust rating, which is, it goes from 1 to 6 or 0 to 6, so it's the highest dust rating, but the 5 is 0 to 9. So it's kind of in the middle as far as water resistant, waterproof. So you kind of don't want to, you can't submerge them. This is how I have it set up in my truck. Battery, fridge, in my rear seat. This thing doesn't take a lot of room. It's convenient, it's easy to get to, doesn't weigh a lot, so I can take it out of the truck when I want to. I can take the batteries out, which is really helpful when I was trying to recharge with my portable solar panels. I have 100-watt portable Renogy solar panels that I keep with me. They actually fit really nice behind the fridge when it's in my seat. Okay, so let's talk about real life, real world experience. That's probably what y'all are most interested in. So 8 weeks, I use this off the grid using solar panels to recharge. Never drain the battery below like 40%. Most of the time, if I tracked this at about 10 days, I would be down to about 60%. And what I learned was That gave me enough. One day, if I set my solar panels out, I could recharge that battery up into the 90s, almost 100%. If you can find shade, it's gonna greatly reduce the amount of charge you're gonna pull off your battery. Towards the end of my trip when I was in Colorado, it was getting down below 30 at night, say 25, 28. Things were freezing up, frost on the truck. Truck said it was 25 when I woke up. I don't know what temperature is now, but I put some water inside my oatmeal thing here to help clean it later, and it's all turned into ice. That cooler probably only used 15 to 20% for 3 weeks. It would drop the temperature inside when it got cool at night. It would be down below 40 degrees when I woke up in the morning, and I kept it set at 45. And then during the day, it was only getting to like 60 degrees. I was parked in the shade. It just wouldn't run that much. You could use that indefinitely. You're gonna run out of food. You're gonna need to get to the grocery store before that right there will drain that battery. This right here is the reason why I will not use a cooler on any of my long distance road trips. All right, y'all, that's pretty much all I got for this video. Drop your questions in the comments and I will get to as many as I can. Appreciate you watching.